The Hollywood sign. It's right there. Sorry, I feel kind of loopy.
No, it's great. I want you to just say it again because the camera's now running.
Do you want me to point out the Hollywood sign again?
I mean, you did already.
Oh, so what do you want me to say again?
Oh, you said it.
Okay.
It was very natural.
What can I say? Yeah, my name is Aarohi Sheth. I graduated from USC. This is my first time at ONA. I'm part of the student newsroom at ONA. This is my first time doing that as well. I freelance, I part-time, I write scripts for true crime podcasts. I freelance and do audio stories. I do text stories, long form, short form, multimedia. I'm a photographer. I write newsletters. I write about climate change, identity, queer culture, South Asian culture, Houston, hurricanes, Los Angeles. Just, I do it all. Yeah, I get bored of doing one thing, but they all exist on the digital space. Again, that's just like where journalism is going. I just graduated in May, and that was kind of like my last time being around all like, you know, the fast-paced nature and kind of just like figuring things out on the fly, coming up with interview questions like 5 minutes before you do the interview because someone rescheduled. In terms of resources, there were a lot of recruiters here, again, just trying to do that elevator pitch thing. These mentors, like I've been talking to mentors even if they're not my own, and they've all been giving good advice, even like running into other people's in the hallway as I'm like going to lunch and just like listening into their quick conversations. I'm like, oh, that was a good tip, or like that was encouraging. Yeah, I definitely think I want to keep in touch with my own mentor, Erin. She was just really kind, very generous with her time, and she just knew when to check in, when to leave me alone, just like intuitively. I think that's like a really good quality in a mentor. And on the first day when we talked, she got really excited we were just like exchanging like our favorite stories and like things about our jobs, and I just really liked how excited that she was after all this time about journalism and the stories that she's done. So it's always nice finding people of like different ages and backgrounds that share the same like passion. In terms of barriers at this conference, there's always just like way more white people than anyone else. I don't think that's like the newsroom's fault. I think that's just like journalism and the world and the nature of these conferences. Like, of course, the people with the most privilege are going to be able to afford these. Like, I've never been to any conference except the other time a school paid for me to go and speak. I did feel very burnt out coming into this conference. I think I'm still experiencing a lot of burnout from not even like graduation, but just like the last semester, the last year. Like, I distanced myself from journalism just because it was getting to be a lot, and I even like moved back home after college, even though that's like not a good space for me, just because, I don't know, the place that I went to school, or even the city, LA, just started to feel just like so entangled with all those feelings. I just wanted a break. So I do fear that I wasn't maybe like my best at this conference. Do I think I'll come back? Probably not. I can't afford this. If somebody wants to pay for me to come back, I'll come back. But yeah, I don't think so. I fear I'm gonna have to try and network via the LinkedIns and just regular life again. Keep writing, freelancing, pitching. Yeah, but I do feel very lucky to be here. Not everyone gets this opportunity, and yeah, I think I've done a good job of making the most of it. I think this conference has helped with my confidence as a journalist. I think all the stories that I wanted to do were happening, all the panels and interviews were happening on one day. And so it just reminded me that like I am made for this business. Like I got it all done way before the deadline, even though I thought I couldn't, doing multiple stories in a day. That just reminded me that like I'm meant to be here. I'm good at what I do. I know what I'm doing. Even though I didn't have as much time as I wanted to work on these pieces, I still produced really good stories. They read well. I'm proud of the topics that I chose. So yeah, I think that made me more confident, and just like meeting people and not feeling like it was networking. I want to get better about selling myself and not just waiting for people to see like my resume or my like writing samples and be impressed by those. Like I want to like embody how good of a journalist that I know that I am. And so being around all these people who are like so confident and good at just like doing that elevator pitch and like, I don't know, getting their foot in the door, even if it's not open, I want to be like that. So I think I'm gonna go home and work on that. And then my biggest takeaway, I don't know, maybe that like being in an in-person newsroom is something that I definitely want to do right now. Again, I've just been freelancing and working from home since grad, but I missed like the spirit that is kind of only present when you're in an in-person newsroom with other journalists also trying to get stuff done on deadline. And yeah, the nature of collaboration is something that I really miss. So definitely gonna take that away and make sure that that is something that is there in the next thing that I embark on.
Sorry, are we gonna have continuity issues with that?
Oh,
I didn't realize.
No, there was a great shot of
All
you
right.
like laughing with your drink, so it's great.
All right.
It makes you look like a model. You're great.
All right. Well, I'm Carla Nudel. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina originally, but I've been doing my master's in journalism at NYU. This is my first time at ONA, at least in person. And even though I went virtually during the pandemic, I know that doesn't count because this is totally a different experience. Actually, one of the reasons why I realized I wanted to come to the conference is because a friend and colleague of mine, she told me that she had come here before a couple of years ago while she was a student, and she did the student newsroom, and she told me that it was an amazing experience for her and that I should definitely try and do the same. But when I wanted to apply, I was too late. But then I realized that there was a scholarship for students, and I applied, and I think that was key for me to be able to reach out to my program and ask for additional funding to be able to travel here. And that actually made things way easier to me. Without that kind of support, I don't think I would have been able to come, and I think that's very, very important for us students to be able to come because besides the resources, the paying for the hotel and the food and the taxes and your ticket, then it's also time that you spend being here that you could probably spend doing anything else, such as work or study. So being here is such an investment, and I think it's really, really important to get funding as a student to be able to be here. I'm here in the US doing this program on media innovation because I got this Fulbright scholarship, and I honestly wouldn't even have thought about the possibility of coming here without that help. Being an international person trying to grow in my career in the US is it's not easy. You feel like the pressure that you're competing with people who speak English as their first language. But actually, I feel that so far I've been learning so much about how to navigate the things. And after my experience this summer at National Geographic, for example, that's where I had the chance to do my internship during 2 months. I felt like I wasn't being judged for being international, but quite the opposite. I felt like people there were appreciating my perspective as someone who speaks, for example, Spanish as first language. Was really important to help them be better and be more inclusive with their content and with their products. I guess the most important things you learn at these conferences, it's not theoretical. It's not like a guide, like you should do X, Y, and Z, and therefore you're gonna be more successful. I think it's more like a generalized anecdotal learning of what people tell you that they tried and worked, or maybe they try and it did not work. And you get a better glimpse of what the challenges people are facing in media all across the country. And I think that's the greatest learning you can get, because in my case, being about to graduate, I feel like I get the chance to know what media outlets and journalism in general is gonna need in the next few years. So I feel more prepared to get any skills that I need to become that person who can provide them with solutions.